And the next question comes from a viewer named Aiden. And Aiden says, "Hello, Lynn and Jamie. I have been watching and enjoying your videos for a few weeks now, and would love for you to pass a few of my questions on to the upper dimensions and godly presences. What is the best way for one to discover their soul plan and find purpose within their life? I write this as a 19-year-old who is at a crossroads and believes since birth they are predestined for something of importance. What is the best way for one to discover their soul plan and find purpose in their life?"
And there are a number of angelic presences who are clustered to answer this question.
Yes, I see
And
them.
we do see those who are affiliated with the questioner, like a guardian angel capacity.
That's what it feels like.
But also they're standing with the presences of greater responsibility who are responsible for the entire planet, and everybody's together. And
That's true.
they look sad. The guardian angel looks sad, but is sitting there, standing there. It's kind of like standing behind the speaker at the microphone.
Yeah.
And the speaker at the microphone is saying, "We are at a crisis time, and all presences born into this planet, all presences born into this planet for several decades, and most of them born in for 7 decades, have this one underlying intention in the soul plan, and that is to change the situation."
That's true.
Which went off track about 100 years ago, until the planet is turned around and headed in the correct direction again.
Yes.
And that's the goal. And the details of the soul plan can vary widely. Some
That's
people
true.
are supposed to do it, were supposed to have done it through the vehicle of theater.
That's right.
That's just an example. That was the original soul
Soul
plan
plan.
of the Jamie Body Mind.
Exactly.
Or through teaching meditation, which
Exactly.
was the original soul plan
plan.
of the Lynn life.
That's right.
And so there might have been an original plan through which you were supposed to be accomplishing
That's
that
true.
goal, but none of those plans are working.
No,
And
you
it's
could do
time for all of those plans to be set aside, and it's really the time, and this person is saying it's time for rebellion. It actually is, because
That's true, I hear him.
nobody is responding.
Yes, that's true.
Nobody is responding, and the science is extremely clear, and the data is very well documented, and nobody is responding. And so the government is a contract, somebody's saying. And I
That's
love
true.
this. Is
I
the
love this present.
presence who's speaking, very calm. He's saying
Yes.
government is a contract between the populace and the governing committees.
That's true.
And when the contract is broken, then we must start again to form a new contract. And the contract becomes broken when the governing committees stop following the rules as agreed to by the populace. And we have that condition on this planet dimension combo pack of ground zero planet Earth in
That's
human
true.
society, where the contract is broken and the governing committees are no longer living for the good of the populace. They're living for the good of themselves as they perceive that to be.
Yes, that's true.
And that's not okay. And so it's rebellion time. It's actually rebellion time. And so we, the godly presences, call on you to rebel. And you feel that you are destined for greatness. And so let's let history be written by those who fought for justice. History is written by the victors.
That's true.
Fight for justice, and fight for justice on behalf of God's planet. This is God's planet, not humanity's planet. Now, groups have been formed already that are doing this, and you can form your own group, and feel free to.
That's
If
true.
you find it easier to work inside of existing structures, we would refer you to Extinction Rebellion.
That's true.
But other groups also exist. And somebody's asking, one of those godly presences is asking the other one, well, why do you recommend Extinction Rebellion? And he says, because they're so peaceful and not pushy.
That's what he said.
Yeah, they're peaceful and not pushy. And so peaceful, not pushy people are the way to go. They're non-violent, peaceful, not pushy people.
That's true.
And that's why we would direct anybody to them, because directing people toward pushy violence is a bad karma scheme.
That's true.
And we don't want to participate in bad karma schemes. So we direct people toward peaceful, not pushy, non-violent solutions for rebellion. Does this answer the question? And there's one more thing, because somebody's saying how it looks on a resume. And
I hear that.
How it looks on a resume is that you are someone who spoke up. And they're directing us to an incident from this life. We were at a week-long meditation retreat, a Thich Nhat Hanh retreat, and met a gentleman who was also at that same retreat. And there was a attraction, and he was somebody who was an emergency room physician who had a very long rap sheet of arrests for civil disobedience. And we thought that was really awesome.
Yes.
So in certain circles, it's really awesome. And so, friends, to generalize this, for those of us who are interested in God, there are a number of women who tend to be more interested in God than men
That's
are.
what they're talking
who
about.
think it's really awesome when a man will do something that takes courage to stand up for the oppressed.
That's true.
If you look at who's standing up for the planet right now, for the most part it's women and children.
Yeah, that's true.
And for a man to do that, women who are themselves interested in God think that that's awesome. That's
true.
the point that they're trying to make by bringing up that one guy who had a rap sheet for civil disobedience, and his issue was nuclear power plants.
That's right.
And he would travel around protesting to get nuclear power plants shut down, and he got arrested for it lots and lots of times.
That's right.
And that was what we thought was awesome.
That's right.
And that he wasn't pretending that he was too good for it.
That's right.
He wasn't pretending that it was for lesser people. He was using his credibility for good, not for evil.
That's right.
And we thought that was great. And there are many women like that.
That's true.
And in the Buddhist community, they're called Dharma babes.
That's true.
So if you're interested in God, and you're cruising for a Dharma babe,
that's what he said,
then stand up for the planet, and the Dharma babes will think you're cool.
The question was, what is the best way for one to discover their soul plan and find purpose within their life?
Find purpose by standing up for the planet. Find purpose for leading the charge on behalf of the planet to a new civilization, one that can, in fact, be sustainable. And so you've got to stand for, let anybody who wants to give up their seat on the bus, let them give up their seat on the bus. No new kids. We've got to take a hiatus from breeding dogs, cats, horses, cows, and humans.
That's true.
No more domesticants. Take a hiatus. That's not saying never, ever. But look, for the next 20 years, we absolutely don't need any more of humans or long-lived domesticant species.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Does this answer the question?
This answers the question. And when men actually start advocating for change, it looks great to the good quality women who are themselves also advocating for change.
That's true.
And nothing else actually looks great. Everything else looks pretty offensive, just to be honest.
Our next question comes from a viewer named Austin. And Austin says, I have a question for the angels. For those of us who don't have these conscious connections with angels, are there any indicators that we are or aren't following our soul plan? Our feelings of health, joy, gratitude some positive signs? Conversely, hate, illness, depression, signs that it's time to shake things up. Can we live on a path of alignment within cities, generally leading normal lives? Or is it essential that we all move into the country, establish these conscious connections, and get serious about following their directives to a T? Blessings.
This is a great question.
Yeah, it is.
Who will answer this question? Oh, it's again that really wonderful, calm presence.
That's true.
Who is, many people believe this person to be the ultimate godly presence.
Yes, it's true.
And he's saying, let me see if I can get it. He's saying, the thing about cities is that cities are where effective demonstration can occur.
That's true.
For effective demonstrations to occur, it might be argued that you must be in a city.
That's true.
And so if you are in a city, then to be a part of those who are demonstrating for system change, complete change, and the system has to turn around. It's headed exactly in the wrong direction, so we need a hard U-turn, U-turn, and there is consensus that rebellion is probably the way to go.
That's true.
And you probably need to be in a city in order to carry that out. If you are in a city and not advocating for rebellion, then you're part of the problem and not part of the solution, and that's bad.
That's what he said.
And so if you are in a city, choose to actively engage in the solution, and actively engage means exactly that, actively engage. And if you want to form your own group, then please do so, and include non-violence as a directive.
That's true.
And if you want to look at Extinction Rebellion, you will see that they advocate for peaceful, non-violent civil disobedience, and
that's true.
We believe that that's the way to go, peaceful, non-violent civil disobedience. And that's the plan for the city dwellers. Everyone who's in the cities is supposed to be doing that. Every single human being who's living in a city, that's their soul plan. That's why they're in the city.
That's
they're in the city to peacefully, non-violently rebel for system change.
That's true.
If you don't want to do that, then why don't you move to the country and get a couple acres and get yourself a tiny farm and start to learn how to raise some of your food yourself.
That's true.
Organically, using the things you have as if it were post-apocalyptic.
That's true.
To start to learn some useful life skills. So those two things. If you don't want to leave the city, it's okay. Advocate for change peacefully, non-violently, and with civil disobedience.
That's true.
And if you don't want to do that, then stop racking up bad karma by being in the cities.
That's right.
And not advocating for change. Because by being in a city and somebody's saying what's happening by being in a city and not advocating for change, then you are upholding the status quo.
That's true.
And the status quo is not making God happy, because this is God's planet and we're not supposed to be destroying it.
That's true.
And there's supposed to be between 500 million and 2 billion humans. 500 million and 2 billion, somewhere in there. So we could have 15 times too many humans, which means 15/16 of humans might need to go.
That's true.
Consider, when the sorting out happens, do you want to have been doing something that's likely to have the angels and God's happy with you? And so don't stay in the cities and uphold the status quo. You can stay in the cities and advocate for system change, dramatic change now. People call that rebellion.
That's true.
Or move to the country and start a tiny farm, organic tiny farm. Does that answer the question? Can we have the question again?
For those of us who don't have these conscious connections with angels, are there any indicators that we are or aren't following our soul plan?
Lots of people talk about being depressed and not being able to
Yes,
sleep and feeling
anxiety.
anxious, and those are indicators that you're supposed to start rebelling.
Yes,
And
that's true.
many people report that when they begin taking action on behalf of the planet, suddenly they breathe easier,
That's
sleep
right.
better, their anxiety levels are lessening, they
That's
feel
true.
better. They do feel better. If you're feeling grateful, gratitude is actually a skill
That's
that
true.
can be learned, and good for you for developing gratitude. But to remember that this is not about life being good for us. We look up at the sky that should be full of birds, and
Yep.
it is empty of
Empty.
birds, and it's also empty of large insects.
Yes.
It's so noticeable, and nobody wants to look at it.
That's
but
true.
Everything is dying now. We're more than halfway through. Humans are more than halfway through murdering all life on planet. That's what that godly presence is saying. Murdering all other life on the planet.
That's
and
true.
there's nothing to stop this. If humanity doesn't want to stop it, the gods are not going to intervene because they want these unpleasant humans done.
Gone. That's true.
They don't like humans because humans are selfish ingrates.
That's true.
They do like grateful people who give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
And in their view, credit is due directly upward. That's what they mean by giving credit where credit is due.
That's true.
You'll feel better if you get into action on behalf of the planet in an effective way.
That's true.
Start your own group, or look at Extinction Rebellion. Those are the 2 suggestions.
Does that answer the question?
Does it answer the question? They're walking away from
Yeah,
the
I feel
microphone.
them walking away from the microphone.
Okay, next question. Do we
Okay.
need to restart?